The New York Jets rookies reported a couple of days ago. The veterans and the rest of the players report tomorrow, and the first practice is on Wednesday. But before we get to all that, we must give a 53-man roster prediction ahead of training camp. Let's freaking go!
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're fucking wrong!
Wearing the Victory Monday shirt, baby, because it is a Victory Monday. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your friggin' podcast. My name is Paul Weston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. Welcome to the show. And I have Darren in here, part of the Boy Green Coffee Club. He said, where you at, Paul? Why were you not here exactly at 7:30? I'll give you guys a absolute free plug. I'm getting no money from the Jets for this, but I just finished up Origins, which is a Jets documentary series, and they're going behind the scenes on several players. The first episode that dropped last night was Jermaine Johnson and hearing his origin story. It's like a 40-minute episode, deep dive doc. Shout out to the award-winning One Jets Drive crew. Did a spectacular job. I'll do some more promotion on social media after. They did a terrific job, so make sure you guys check that out. That is very, very good. Very good stuff. But we'll get to some of that promotion perhaps later. Shout out to a couple of people. First off, Cardcade Central just got invited to training camp on the 30th in the family section. So pumped. That's awesome, man. Congratulations, CCC. And training camp's going to be awesome. We got a lot of great practices coming up. But this happened before the show, so I do want to make sure that I get to this and give a proper shout-out, give some proper love. It's time to hit the chimes. And one more time. Before the show started, Mike B. Hi-Ho Jets fan joined the Boy Green Coffee Club. So welcome to the Army, baby. And I do believe with this edition, Mike, and welcome to the family, just $2.99 a month, you guys can join, whether on desktop, laptop, mobile. It's a little bit more creative to do it on mobile, to either join yourself or gift each other memberships. You guys can Google that. There's a few different settings to get there. But if you're on your desktop, it just shows you right there when you're on the YouTube channel, join. So shout out to Mike. We're, I think, 8 members away from the next emoji of putting Snowball back to work. I believe we are 8 members away. We'll see if we get there before the end of today's show. But today's show is dedicated to a 53-man roster prediction. I haven't done one like this where we get into the weeds and really go through position by position. I'll throw it up here on the screen as we're going position by position through. If you guys have questions, if you guys have comments, feel free to send them in. YouTube super chats, and then we'll also have the phone calls open a little bit later in the show. But I do want to get through, again, a 53-man roster prediction. We have a full article down below that also helps as we're going through this. I'll tell you the players that I had making it, and then obviously the players that by nature did not, with this being said. But I did want to get a prediction out there before we get into training camp, where things could change and people could claim jobs. And to be honest, that's the coolest part of this process. All right, let's start off. We're going to go starting off on offense. Let's go there. Quarterbacks. Here's the quarterbacks I'm making it. The Jets are going to have 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster. Aaron Rodgers, yes. I know Jake Asman was asking on social media. I can reveal that he is going to make the team. I know a lot of people were questioning that or asking that. Aaron Rodgers is making the team. Tyrod Taylor is the backup, and then Jordan Travis. Now, I will be honest as we're going through this. This is my prediction, what I believe is going to happen. We do not know the status medically of JT3. If he's ready to go, then this is the 3. If he's healthy, these are the 3. If he is somewhat compromised, then the Jets have a couple of different options. They could choose to medical redshirt Jordan Travis, the kid out of Florida State, and basically put him on IR, and he'll be out for the year, but he'll be around the team. And then in that case, they'd have to bring in a different QB3 to be on the roster. Either way, I believe they're going to carry 3 quarterbacks on the roster. So Aaron Rodgers and Tyrod Taylor and Jordan Travis, they're all locks to make the team, but they could get creative by redshirting Travis depending on his health status. That I don't know. The only other quarterback on the roster is Andrew Peasley, who by all accounts apparently impressed in the spring. He could be a practice squad candidate and perhaps an outside shot at being the QB3 if Jordan Travis is medically unable to go. So that's a possibility. But that is your quarterback. That is your quarterbacks. Let's go. Great question, Jerby asks. Is Jordan on the PUP list right now? No, he's not. Technically, that's the NFI list. That is the non-football injury list. What does that mean? That means that his injury predated his NFL career. In other words, it's a gruesome leg fracture that he suffered. So it's the NFI list. It happened before he was in the NFL. So that is not, that's a different kind of list. But good question, Jared B. NFI list for now. And we'll see where he goes from there. All right, let's go next. I'm going to go running backs. This may be where we get the first surprise of the group. The four I have making it are Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, and Israel Abani-Kanda. Breece Hall, obvious. Breece Hall making the group. He's the superstar. He's the straw that stirs the drink. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Here's another one. The two rookies, Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin and Isaiah Davis out of South Dakota. They're rookies. And Joe Douglas, in his career and tenure with the Jets, if he's drafted a player, he has only cut one of his rookies that he drafted in the same year. That was Zach Kuntz last year as a 7th-round draft choice. He was immediately brought back on the practice squad. Long story short, if you're a drafted guy based on Joe Douglas's history, you're making the team. So those top three are roster locks. Absolutely. Izzy is up in the air. He's going to be battling a bunch of people. He'll be battling with Tariq Cohen. He'll be battling with Valladay. He'll be battling, hell, even with Nick Bodden, the fullback. And I'll just be honest right now, the other surprise of this is I have Izzy making it, and I have Nick Bodden not making it. The Jets not carrying a fullback. We could get into that conversation perhaps a little bit later. But I think Izzy, what he brings to the table is a change of pace. He brings a different style to the backfield. So you have Breece, and he's obvious. He could do it all. You have Braylon and Isaiah, who are bigger backs that bring a little bit of that Brutus beefcake to the table, which you love to see. Izzy brings a little splash. He brings a little bit of difference. Izzy to the hizzy. Now, by all accounts, apparently he's had a terrible spring, and all this other added people to the room has only put pressure on the young man. But I'm not quite ready to throw him out. I'm going to be honest. Pre-training camp, I'm putting this together, and after the preseason training camp is over, we'll do another 53-man roster prediction here in a month plus or so. But I think there's a path for Izzy to make it, man. I think there's a path for Izzy to make it, be that change of pace guy. Absolutely. So we'll see. Like I said, I don't have Bodden making it. And my big take here on Bodden is I believe Jeremy Rucker can do the job. If you are maximizing the 53 men on the roster, it's not carrying Nick Bodden, who, by the way, could probably contribute special teams-wise, but it's Jeremy Rucker playing a little fullback, tight end, H-back, everything, and just, utilizing him in that range, which we'll get to tight ends in a second. I think you can fill the Bodden role without having a Bodden. And again, that's a rare take because Nathaniel Hackett likes having fullbacks, so this might come back to bite me from a prediction standpoint, but that's what I'm saying. I like it a lot. All right, let's go next here. So, out is Bodden, Tariq Cohen. Again, he is Bodden, Cohen, by the way, are both practice squad candidates in this exercise, and then goodbye, Valladay. There you go for the running back conversation. All right, let's go to receiver. Let's go to receiver here on the board. Very interesting group here. You got a mix of roster locks, like Garrett Wilson's making the roster, rookie Malachi Corley's making the roster, Mike Williams, Alan Lazard. Again, here's the only way that Lazard does not make the roster. I'll go through for our audio-only listeners. I'll make sure at the end I'll tell you all the receivers who are making it. I'll tell you the receivers who aren't. But the only way Alan Lazard is not on this team is if he is a cancerous, terrible aura around the team. So he's performing and practicing really badly, and he's just being a terrible spirit in the room. And the Jets just go, Let's just cut out these bad vibes and dump him, and let's roll what we got. Outside of that, I think Lazard's making the team. Contractually speaking, he's here for another year, and outside of a banner year, he's gone next year anyway. So I think Lazard is probably making it, perhaps to the dismay of a lot of Jet fans. And if we be honest with ourselves, Garrett Wilson's wide receiver 1, Mike Williams healthy is wide receiver 2, Malachi Corley is eventually going to be the wide receiver 3. I believe Xavier Gibson will have that role early on, and Corley will have a chance to take that from him. Lazard's your wide receiver 4. And you know what? If he could be sort of what he was in Green Bay, that's not a bad wide receiver 4. I know I'm going higher register there, but, maybe he could just be okay. Which, by the way, all things considered, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So, again, I went a little higher register there, but that could certainly happen. So I think salary-wise, I think he's staying. Now, some other guys that I think are going to make it. Xavier Gibson. He is the favorite in the return man department right now. I think he makes it. So we have Garrett Wilson, we have Malachi Corley, we have Mike Williams, we have Xavier Gibson, we have Irv Charles. And for a while, I thought our special teams replacement for Justin Hardy was not Irv Charles that everyone was talking about. I thought it would be Isaiah Oliver, who is a converted safety, went for corner safety. He has a lot of special teams experience in his career. I thought he would be one of those other gunners. Brandon Eccles is one. I thought he could be one of the other ones. But as time has kind of happened here, I'm leaning more towards Irv Charles, which would be 7 wide receivers making the roster. And to catch us back up on all the other positions, I want to keep track of the numbers too. And like I said, we have an article down below as well. 3 quarterbacks, 4 running backs. This is the 53-man roster. And now I project 7 wide receivers to make it. I could see that. And then finally, the last guy I haven't mentioned yet, Jason Brownlee. Now, statistically, didn't do a whole heck of a lot last year. He did not. But boy, I mean, the propaganda, the sales job from the Jets coaching staff on Jason Brownlee, they are singing the sweet songs. Connor Hughes has come out, called Jason Brownlee this dark horse that the team loves. Rich Cimini's come out. Jason Brownlee is this dark horse the team loves. Like, there is a lot of hubbub around Jason Brownlee, which, by the way, is exciting. I love the undrafted free agent stories from last year. So, Brownlee, I've been making the roster. I have Jason Brownlee absolutely jumping in and making the roster there. All right, let's go next year. Let's go tight end. Okay. Got 3 tight ends making it. Tyler Conklin, Jeremy Rucker, they're absolute roster locks. Cha-chink! Lock of the week. Boom. Conklin, Rucker making it. Tight end 3, that's the thing that's up in the air. That is the thing that's up in the air. By the way, some of the wide receivers that I'm tossing out with the wind, Malik Taylor, Lance McCutcheon, Hamzy Elziat, Tyler Harrell, and Marcus Riley. Those are the receivers I'm throwing out with the bathwater. Just to, like I said, make sure I keep that going with who's on the team. But with tight ends, Conklin, Ruckert making it. The tight end 3 is up in the air. At this point, I have Kenny Yeboah making it. Special teams guy. Coaching staff loves him. Preseason darling. And to be honest, we need to see the lead from Zach Kuntz. Now, we heard a lot of things from Aaron Rodgers this offseason on this freak from Old Dominion. It's got all the measurables. Maybe he makes it as tight end 3, but he's got to earn it during preseason and training camp. He's got to earn it. At this point, it's Kenny Yeboah. So out Zach Kuntz, he'd be a very much a practice squad candidate. And then the other 2 tight ends on the roster, Kevin Folsch and Lincoln Sefcik. Sorry, boys, not making the roster. I'm afraid not. Now let's go to the offensive line. Let's go to the offensive line, baby. And I feel very strongly about this group. I think they're keeping 10 offensive linemen. The Jets kept 9 last year, and Joe Douglas said he regretted it. They didn't have additional padding. I think we're going to have a ton of trench warfare here. 10 offensive linemen making it. Here are my 10, and then I'll go into details about them. Tyron Smith, John Simpson, Joe Tippmann, Elijah Vera Tucker, Morgan Moses. That's your starting 5. Now here are the backups. Olu Fashanu, Max Mitchell, Wes Schweitzer, Carter Warren. And my wild card in the mix, and one of the great training camp storylines to keep an eye out for, Cole Laval, who is the former UFL All-Star, formerly the San Antonio Brahmas, and he came over here, signed a 3-year deal with the New York Jets. Versatile as all hell. He's played 4 of the 5 offensive line positions. This cat's good, man. I think he's the sneaky story to watch out for. I think he's my boy. I did an interview with him. You guys can check that out on the channel. Previously, it's in my both video section, live section. We got a bunch of video shorts from his interview. And he said his goal was to be the starting guard for the New York Jets this season. Move over John Simpson and Elijah Vera Tucker. I like the chutzpah of this guy, right? Love the chutzpah. Absolutely. That's worth one of these. I like the cut of that guy's jib. Move over AVT, move over John Simpson. That's the job I'm coming for. I'm like, whoa, I assumed he was just coming for, hey, I'm just trying to make the roster. He's coming for a starting gig, baby. While that's extremely unlikely, the thing that I love his attitude. Love his chutzpah. And to be honest, with all the injuries the Jets have had on the offensive line, boy, would I like some versatility back there. Guys that can play multiple positions. Absolutely multiple positions. That's who I have. Absolutely. Love speaking with Cole Laval. Love getting to know him and his agent behind the scenes and on camera. He's my boy. I've seen a lot of 53-man roster predictions. A lot of 53-man roster predictions. I haven't seen a lot that say Cole Laval's making it. So I am on the Cole Laval. Call me the captain of the Cole Laval fan club. The president. El Presidente. And I have him making it. I'll try to answer some of these questions live. Let me see. Where's McGovern? I don't think he's coming. I think that ship has sailed, Matthias. John Sauer. Is Schweitzer a decent enough backup center, Paul? I mean, you guys have heard me all offseason. I would prefer more depth at center, which, by the way, Cole Laval has history at center. Maybe he can play over there. Although he's most comfortable at guard, he tells me. So the snapping from Schweitzer, I'm going to be honest, kind of scares me. But he's a decent enough guard. When healthy, he's all right. Jared asks, Paul, who are most people putting over Laval? I would say Jake Hansen, who has some experience, and he's really intriguing. That's a player that most people are putting over Laval, and I've seen some predictions only have the Jets with 9 offensive linemen making the 53-man roster. I push back on that, man. I think we're 100% getting 10. Again, Joe Douglas, after having only 9 last year and the injuries happen, I think he's going to do everything in his power to insulate this group, and that'd be one way to do it. So 10, count them, 10, baby, offensive linemen making the roster. That means out at offensive tackle, you could throw a couple of guys out, Austin Deculus, Willie Tyler, Obinna Easy, a couple of offensive tackles there. And the other people that are out, Xavier Newman, we all learned too much about him over the last couple of years, Chris Glazer, a friend of Aaron Rodgers, and Brady Latham and Jake Hansen. Some of those will inevitably end up on the practice squad. I'd probably go Jake Hansen there on the PS. On the practice squad. That's why I have. Those are some of the players that will be out. So, again, 10 offensive linemen making it. And, again, one more time, that's Tyron Smith, John Simpson, Joe Tippmann, Elijah Vera Tucker, Morgan Moses, Olu Fashanu, Max Mitchell, Wes Schweitzer, Carter Warren, and Cole Laval. Again, boy, if you have not heard about him, I wrote a full story about Cole. That's hyperlinked down below. When you see Cole's name, you can click that. You can read my whole story on him. We did a full interview with him. You guys can check that out as well. I'm telling you, baby, the Cole Laval story is going to be terrific. All right, let's go to the defense, baby, and I feel the same way. We're getting some trench warfare happening with 10 deep on the defensive line, baby. And I've kind of grouped all these guys together. This is both interior defensive linemen and defensive ends. Hassan Reddick, more on that later. Quinnen Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Javon Kinlaw, Will McDonald, Michael Clemens, my boy, Likey Fotu, Solomon Thomas, and 2, count them 2, UDFAs making the roster, Eric Watts, UConn boy, and Leonard Taylor III out of Miami. Now let's just talk about this group real quick for a second. This is the positional group. This is the straw that stirs the drink for the New York Jets. They need this group deep because they attack opponents in waves. This is an attacking style defense. The people that are like, so there's a lot of locks here in my opinion. Reddick, Quinnen, Jermaine, Javon, Kinlaw, Will McDonald, Likey Fotu. And then we get into, where do we see this going? Michael Clemens, he's been a polarizing topic this offseason. A lot of 53-man predictions have had him off the roster. I think that's too overreactionary. Some people didn't like him back in the draft, and they've been unable to adapt their takes, number one. I would say number two, some people just don't like the personality. It rubs them the wrong way, so they just try to throw him out with the bathwater. Here's what I can tell you. Here are the facts. The Jets coaching staff loves Michael Clemens. He is versatile. They've asked him to do a lot. They've asked him to learn a lot of different positions and fluctuate weight, which has been difficult for Michael. There's no question about it. But with JFM gone and Bryce Huff gone, there are opportunities. There's roster spots up for grabs. Now, Hassan took one of those, certainly. There's another roster spot up for grabs. I think Michael Clemens takes it. It's probably unfair to give him the quote-unquote JFM role. There was a JFM, John Franklin Myers, did some great work here with the Jets. I have Clemens making this roster, man. He brings an attitude, and as Joe Douglas told DA a couple months ago, he is the selected enforcer of this Jets team, and that nasty energy is infectious to his teammates. Now, obviously, he's got to clean up his crap. He sometimes gets a little too crazy. Sauce Gardner mentioned that before. He's one of the teammates. He said he has to calm down. Just say, whoa, Michael, take it easy, man. So he's got to rein it in. He's had some stupid penalties and stupid mistakes. So as long as you channel that energy, Michael Clemens is really, really good. Again, Likey Fotu contract structure-wise, he's here. One of those defensive tackles. Solly, coming off a career year, loves Solly. And then the two UDFAs, Eric Watts, by all accounts, has done a wonderful job impressing. Absolutely impressing. Here's from Zach Rosenblatt, quote, Watts was one of the biggest standouts during OTAs and minicamp, and it doesn't hurt that the Jets gave him the biggest signing bonus of this UDFA class, end quote. Team loves him, and the team's paid him. Follow the money trail, baby. So Watts. And on Leonard Taylor III, I'm going to be honest. I'm betting on the talent. I am betting on the talent. I didn't really see anything during OTAs. It's very hard to judge defensive linemen, really, during the spring process until the pads come on. But boy, Leonard Taylor III, the talent's there. And if you're going to trust anyone on this coaching staff to maximize the juice out of the orange, it's Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich, man. Aaron Whitecotton on the defensive line to get the most juice out of this group. And boy, Leonard Taylor III is talented. No one's denying the talent. The moxie, putting it all together, there's no question. That's where we get it. Jared B., no Tanzel Smart? No, there is not. I'm sorry for Tanzel Smart and his family watching Hard Knocks where he keeps on the roster, off the roster, on the roster, off the roster. I feel, sorry, pal. It sucks. Practice squad again for him. Practice squad is probably looking like what it's going to be. Jared B. says, Javon Kinlaw looks to be in fantastic shape, much like Boy Green. There you go. And Kinlaw is going to be your starter at defensive tackle based on that contract. Because of that contract. Brandon, going back to the offensive line. Brady Latham will make the team, Paul. Don't count out a Razorback. Sorry, man. I just have my eggs in the Cole Laval basket. But hey, competition breeds success. Competition breeds success. Another question here. I'll try to bounce in some questions in between all my discussions. Rodney on YouTube. How long until Fashanu starting? To me, I heard Rich Cimini. Who is he on with? Connor, maybe? Rivka? I don't know where he was on. Or maybe an ESPN interview. I'm not sure. But he openly asked to the universe. He didn't answer it. He just said, man, what if Fashanu is lights out in camp? Did the Jets say, sorry, Morgan Moses, you're to the bench for Fashanu starting? I don't anticipate that. I believe the Jets are going to commit to Fashanu being the break the glass behind Tyron Smith. And if and when he gets hurt, some people believe it's inevitable. If he gets hurt, Fashanu plug and play as your left tackle. I don't want him bouncing around learning Guatemalan. A jack of all trades, master of none. I want him at left tackle. He, in a perfect world, is going to be our left tackle for the next decade. Let's have him learn left tackle and stay at left tackle. I'm fine with Carter Warren being the door number 2 at right tackle if Morgan Moses gets hurt. Again, not every offensive lineman has to be a superstar. I am perfectly fine with Carter Warren at right tackle as the backup. So, Fashanu will start if and when Tyron gets hurt, in my opinion. James asked, didn't Eric Watts get drafted to the UFL? How's that going to work? That's a draft. That is like a draft rights like baseball. Like whatever team, like Oakland or something, has Kyler Murray's draft rights. If he ever goes into baseball, they'll have the first whack of the pinata, James. But obviously, Eric prefers to be in the NFL, and I don't blame him. So that's how that works. So that's to give you a little bit of a taste. But we have 10, count them, 10 defensive linemen making it for the New York Jets. And I've categorized all the defensive tackles, all the defensive ends together. Again, Hassan Reddick, Quinnen Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Javon Kinlaw, Will McDonald, Michael Clemens, Likey Fotu, Solomon Thomas, Eric Watts, and Leonard Taylor III making it on the defensive line. That's 10 strong. Here are some of the guys who are getting thrown out. Tack McKinley. Again, he has the connection, obviously, with Jeff Ulbrich, a former first-round draft choice. He has experience, and he could be a practice squad guy. Keep an eye out for him. Jalen Holmes, he got some opportunities late last season. Braden McGregor, another undrafted free agent. The practice squad could be loaded. And remember, the practice squad is 16 deep. Important to note, 16 deep. Tanzel Smart, speaking of, also out. I think he's another practice squad guy. And then keep an eye out for Bruce Hector, who made some plays during the preseason last year. There you go on the defensive line. All right, let's go to linebackers here. Now, this is where some people will get funky. Some people have the Jets having 4 or 5 linebackers. Or excuse me, some people have them going 5 deep. I have them going 4 deep. The Jets kind of, if you look over the last couple of years, you look at some of those initial 53-man rosters, which kind of give you a sense of how this team thinks, but it's a case-by-case basis. Despite ESPN's Jeremy Fowler top 10 list not having Quincy Williams or C.J. Mosley, yet PFF ranking them the number 1 linebacking core in the NFL, this group is spectacular. The depth, I don't know. I like Jamie and Sherwood, and here's the 4 I have making it. Let me start that off first off. At linebacker, C.J. Mosley, Quincy Williams, Jamie and Sherwood, and Chaz Surratt I have as the last linebacker to make it. Mosley spectacular, Quincy spectacular. Those are your starters. Jamie and Sherwood doesn't get a lot of reps on defense. They don't have a lot of 3 linebackers on the field. But he's Mel Kiper called him one of the best tacklers coming out of the draft in his draft year. And he's continued to develop behind the scenes. And if you read the article, which, by the way, is linked in the YouTube description, you can watch. I don't have the rights to it, so I can't play it. But the Hard Knocks clip from last year of Saleh drooling over Chaz Surratt in the Hall of Fame game, they love Chaz Surratt. So it's a coin flip. I think, Mosley and Quincy are locks, and Jamian's pretty close to a lock, although I guess anything could happen. And Chaz Surratt is the wild card at linebacker. But Zaire Barnes will be close. He's a former Jets draft choice. Sam McGuavin, Marcelino McCrary Ball, Jimmy Choo Choo Charlo out of Army. Joe Douglas loves a lot. And then Jackson Sermon. So again, some people will have them making only 4 or having only 4 linebackers on the roster. Some people will have them at 5 or maybe more, but I have them at 4. And I have, again, Chaz Surratt being that 4th, but he'll be battling with Zaire Barnes and some Sam McGuavin for that final spot. I really like Surratt as well. So that's where I think I'll go there with my 4 linebackers. And this next group is going to be the quickest conversation in the history of conversations. Let's go to the corner room. And these are the 5. Let me give a public apology right now to these 3 individuals who have absolutely no chance of making the Jets roster. Shamar Bartholomew, Brandon Codrington, and Miles Jones. Sorry, pal. The corners are locked in. Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Michael Carter II, Brandon Eccles, and Quantez Stiggers. Those are the 5 cornerbacks that are going to make the roster. No one else has any chance in hell of making this cornerback room. I'm afraid not. Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Michael Carter II are the best trio of corners in the league. Brandon Eccles is a spectacular backup cornerback that's got 15-plus games of starting experience. I mean, and he stepped up, and he's the Tua pick-6 monster. I mean, Brandon Eccles is a wonderful backup. And then Quantez Stiggers, the great Jets rookie, the CFL Rookie of the Year, who we'll see primarily if health is not an issue for the Jets defense this year, is going to be playing a lot of special teams and situational football in the defense. But I'm excited about this corner room. I love it. There's your 5. Lock them in. My stone cold lock is these 5 corners making the group. Absolutely. these 5. And there's no debate. I tell you, when I think there's a debate and we talk about some other players, I'm like, ooh, like Surratt, maybe Surratt, maybe Zaire Barnes, like, could be up in the air depending on how you feel. Like, okay, we could talk about that. But, like, no one else has a chance here at corner. This corner group is spectacular. NC calls it corners are our strongest position group. There's a great case to be made. I love this cornerback room. I love the experience. I love the depth. I love the potential. Think about some of these guys like Quantez and things of that nature. This group is spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. I love this cornerback room. Absolutely great. This is a group you guys should feel great about and smack the table. But as Card Cave Central says, not sure we need a cornerback upgrade considering we have the 3rd corner in the NFL. Shout out to you, Jeremy Fowler, and your list. All right, let's go to safeties. This one's interesting. Again, the corners that are 5 corners, making it. Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Michael Carter II, Brandon Eccles, Quantez Stiggers. And then the corners that did not make it, I'm so sorry to Shamar Bartholomew, Brandon Codrington, and Miles Jones. Sorry, boys. No chance. But let's stay in the secondary. Safeties. I have 4 safeties making it. Tony Adams, Chuck Clark, Ashton Davis, and Isaiah Oliver. And I'm going to be honest, I think these 4 are locks. Tony Adams is one of your starters. Chuck Clark pencils in to be a starter if healthy. I love my boy Ashton Davis. He'll be competing as that big nickel role, which I love for him. He's a ball magnet. Very versatile. I love him in that big nickel role when they could get him on defense situationally. And Isaiah Oliver was the corner that they converted to safety. And based on the contract, it would be a surprise if he didn't make the team. And also, this gives you a little bit of versatility. So we only have 5 corners making it. Some roster projections have 6 making it. If you keep 4 here, Oliver covers both spots. Could be kind of a backup at safety and corner. Plus, obviously, he is a big-time special teamer. The guy, of course, that's kind of hanging out in the mix here at safety to keep an eye out for, to me, is Jalen Key, Mr. Irrelevant, the rookie out of Alabama. I think he has a shot at making this roster, making this team. And think about it, as we go through all this roster construction, my decision to keep 4 linebackers versus 7 receivers versus this, that, that's how you start running out of names and pieces. Because if it's a big puzzle board. If I keep 4 running backs, that means I got to keep this many this or this many that. It's a puzzle piece game. And eventually you run out of spots. So a lot of people say, Paul, you got to put Jalen Key in. If I do, then who we taking off? If we put someone in, we got to take someone off the board. That's how it works, baby. That's how it works. Also, I was excited about the pick, but, injuries have derailed him, and I'm not sure where the path is now. Jerick Bernard Converse. I was very, very excited about JBC, but it's going to be difficult to see him. He's a very impressive athlete, very talented player. He missed all camp last year, missed most of the year with injuries. A 6th-round draft choice, and now we got, the latest new thing we're in love with, which is Jalen Key. So he's fresh. JBC isn't. Maybe JBC makes a practice squad, but boy, it's going to be some rough putting there. Other safeties that are out, Jarius Monroe, Al Blades. Great name, but not making the roster, I'm afraid. Again, Jalen Key will be on the practice squad. Let me see if I have any other questions to jump to right now. Yeah, Clark healthy is a big one. 100%. A big one. A big one to keep an eye out for. He is spectacular. Really love him. He is a fun guy. And someone we're not giving enough love to, that's for sure. Not giving enough love to Chuck Clark, who is going to be spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. So shout out to him. Thank you to Matthias for the question. All right, let's go over to special teams. And, folks, this one's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It's our 3 that we brought back. Greg Zuerlein, star kicker. Thomas Morstead, star punter. Thomas Hennessy, the longest tenured member of the New York Jets organization. He's been here since, I believe it's 2017. Predates everybody. There's a local bar question like, who's the longest tenured Jet? And you're like, oh, is it Quinn Williams? No, it's our long snapper, Thomas Hennessy. This is one of the best special teams units in football. and you add up all those numbers, the 3 special teamers, the 4 safeties, the 5 corners, the 4 linebackers, 10 defensive linemen, 10 offensive linemen, 3 tight ends, 7 wide receivers, 4 running backs, and 3 quarterbacks, beep, boop, bop. That math is 53 men on the roster. That is the math. And that is my 53-man roster prediction here before training camp, which, again, the rest of the team reports tomorrow. The next day is the first practice of New York Jets training camp. Exciting. It's titillating. It's spectacular. I can't wait. I am so friggin' excited for training camp. And let's be honest, in an overall take a step back, how many roster spots are even available? The Jets have one of the best rosters in football. And it's almost a rhetorical question, but I mean, kind of open, like 4, 5, 6, maybe? I don't know. There's some tail end of the roster stuff. That's it. That's because this roster's so freaking good. It's a great first world problem to have. But similar to last year, there's going to be a lot of teams hovering. A lot of teams hovering saying, ooh, who are the Jets going to cut? Because we're going to jump on those guys. We're going to scoop those guys off the roster. Damn straight. Also, make sure you guys check out the article. It's a full written piece that goes along with this 53-man roster prediction. So let me know what you think. Good, bad, and different. Again, I've already seen through the comments so far. We've had some disagreements, so feel free to share them. I'd love it. If you have any questions or comments, someone said yesterday, I don't know if this individual's been in there yet, but he said I had a missing position, which I would have to redo my math if that's the case. But feel free to throw it in there. I assume he was talking about fullback, whoever that individual was. They commented on the video because we set up this video days ago because I knew I wanted to do it on Monday. Some days we decide day of what our topic's going to be. I knew days ago we're going to be talking about the 53-man roster prediction for the New York Jets. But I will also open up the phone lines here. So let's throw those open so you guys can call into the show and yell about me about what I got wrong or what's good or everything in between. Feel free. All right, let's throw this up here on a Boy Green Daily. And I can't wait for training camp, man. This is going to be so fun. It's going to be a doozy. All right. Also, light up the chats with your emojis, baby. I want to see the chat green. I love it. And again, I believe we are 8 members away from getting to our next emoji and putting our Italian friend Snowball back to work with some more creation of emojis. So get those membership flying. Again, whether you join yourself, punch in your own ticket, or even gift a membership for you and your friends. Feel free to do so. Also, the call-in line is now available. It is the pinned comment on YouTube, youtube.com/boygreen25. If you guys would like to call into the show and either praise me for my amazing 53-man roster prediction that obviously won't be wrong, or that you hate me and I've made terrible mistakes, apparently forgetting a position or your mama's favorite player didn't make it or what have you. Feel free to let me know. But as we're doing this, I will go through some of your comments. Matthias saying, don't let this guy in. He'll ruin the party. They hop on Pop. Yeah, he was not popular over the weekend, that's for sure. Absolutely not, with his Derek Carr takes yesterday on the show. I'm glad we got to that before the training camp stuff because, you don't want to have that show in the middle of training camp when things are going on. But right before, let's wash our hands of it. It's a cool story. It came out. Let's talk about it. And then, whoop, let's move on. John Sauer says, Rodgers stays healthy. Sky's the limit this year. I just can't wait to see it, man. And we all feel this way. To see the little taste we got in the Giants game where the Jets go right down the field and Garrett Wilson scores that touchdown and just my brain is just bubbling with what can, because the Jets are in all these primetime games, like, you have Monday Night Football and then the Sunday Night Footballs later, and then you just hear him, and let's bring out your starting New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers. He's just running on the field with a flag or whatever he's running around with. He just runs on the field, and then, the first touchdown, and then back to the end zone, touchdown, Aaron Rodgers finds Garrett Wilson, boom! And I'm just going to be freaking out whether I'm there live for the home opener, Jets-Patriots, can't wait for that, or here at home and watching the games here at home and freaking out. I am just ready. I am friggin' ready, baby. Exciting. We'll get to more of your comments here in just a second, but let's jump on over to the phone lines. It's my boy, Brandon here on the show. Good morning, Brandon.
What's going on, man? How are you doing this morning?
Excellent. And by the way, the dynasty's going well. To my fiance hates it, but she's like, "Wait, another game?" I'm like, "Yeah, I play multiple seasons, honey." And yeah, she has not been a fan of that, but it's going well. I think I'm like 6-1 for Syracuse so far, and I'm going to try to get in the games when I can.
Well, I played with Syracuse last night. Speaking of that,
Oh, nice.
Number 19, their tight end.
Oronde Gadsden, baby. His father played in the NFL. That's right.
Yes, that was my go-to guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was tearing them up. I was torching them with him. He's got some wheels.
Yeah, I've been breaking college football records because, like, every game, like, they go after the game, you get, like, National Player of the Week because he had, like, 30 catches for 1,000 yards. I'm like, hey, sorry, man. I want it more realistic, but tell the defense to stop him then because I'm just throwing it all over the barnyard. Yeah, he's great.
Exactly. That's hilarious. Yeah, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I really like I definitely like your predictions and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw my comment on there, but I said your roster predictions looks like me turning the salary cap off in Madden.
That's true. I did not see that comment, but that's funny. And it is with us as we're putting this together. You know, you could get a little freaky as you're jumping here, there, and there of figuring everything out. But yeah, 90 men, you got to cut it down to 53. A lot of people losing their jobs. So.
And you said we've got 16. Is the practice squads to 16 now?
That's correct. So yeah, so you get the 53 and then the 16. So just a hair under 70 is what you get for your full roster of practice squad and this. But there's no, for a couple, because people have asked this before, oh, why can't you just stash Jordan Travis on the practice squad? Which is a good question. There's no practice squad protections anymore. So we had that during COVID on a week-to-week basis. You could protect 4 guys. So in theory, you could do that. You could stash Jordan Travis on the practice squad and then have other guys on your roster. But there's no more protection. So if Jordan Travis was on the practice squad, he'd last on the practice squad for 3 seconds because immediately someone would then sign him to their roster. So no practice squad protections, but it is 16 players. And now you can have a bunch of old guys. Back in the old days, it was 3 years or less. So you couldn't have veterans on your practice squad. Those rules have changed. So you can have, like, if Tim Tebow all of a sudden said, hey, I want to play again for the Jets, we could sign him to the practice squad. It wouldn't matter. He could be 20 years out of the league. It's irrelevant now. So that's another perk of the old practice squad.
Okay, I knew it. I thought it was always 3 years, so that's definitely interesting. Well, I've been thinking about, Israel Abonaconda, or however you say his name.
Yeah.
And I just think if we got rid of him and Xavier Gibson, I'm like, do you think we could put him at like a third down running back or like a flex-ish player, or do you think he's just a receiver and a return man?
That's a good question. I like the creativity about potentially using Xavier Gibson in other ways. My first thought is when you say that is it brings me back to the Elijah Moore days of how they tried to utilize Elijah Moore early as a smaller receiver. And then it seemed like when we used him on those reverses, he would get hurt. And then all of a sudden he was lesser. So I had to double check what Xavier Gibson's listed at soaking wet. And he's 5'9" and 189 pounds. Yeah. So situationally, sure, you can see a little bit of that action. But I think we're more likely to see Malachi Corley carries before we see Xavier Gibson ones. But if we don't keep Izzy, you could have Tariq Cohen, who's that versatile guy who could play a little receiver running back. He could be the guy. It could be Nick Bodden. Again, I didn't have a fullback making the 53-man roster, so that could be where the spot goes. So you can get a little versatile. You can get a little freaky, try to pick who your other guy is.
Oh, yeah. And see, I think I'm kind of like, if we had like, I don't know, like the 49ers fullback, I can't think of his.
Kyle Juszczyk. Yeah, they almost cut him this offseason, and I think he would have immediately joined the Jets.
Well, see, that's kind of like, I'm one of them. If they're just great at playing the fullback position, I'm like, okay, let's pick them up. But you can use tight ends and other players to kind of fill that void nowadays. But that being said, I think our team looks stacked. I would like a little more depth, like maybe one extra player at linebacker, maybe somebody at safety. But
Mm-hmm.
Allen Lazard being fourth string receiver, I know he didn't play very well last year, but I think he can definitely. He's definitely looks good at the fourth string wide receiver. You would have never thought he'd be that low on the depth chart, especially on any other team in the NFL. So I think
And
we'll
he
see.
could get in trouble. That's the only thing I'll add in. It's this. Alan Lazard, let me pull up the calculators in the back room, have the cracked Boy Green staff. Hey, staff, how many snaps did Alan Lazard play on special teams? Oh, 0%. So the problem with that is when you're a wide receiver 4 or 5, you're supposed to play on special teams. That's your value to the team. So if Lazard plays 0% on special teams and he's wide receiver 4 or 5, he might not be active on game day. So he might make the 53-man roster because the Jets have no choice. But then he's just one of your inactive players on a week-to-week basis. And if he is, the Jets have to ask themselves, is Lazard being the break-the-glass emergency at wide receiver? Because, like, let's say Mike Williams isn't healthy to begin the season, or Malachi Corley has some struggles on the rookie-to-pro transition, then maybe that's how Lazard gets on the field, and he's your backup from that perspective. But, or that you're just paying him to be, like, the world's most expensive backup in the NFL. You know, that will be a decision that is made, I think, in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to see how that all pans out, and if we can get maybe our money's worth on him this year. It's not looking like we will, but I like to stay positive until proven otherwise. But hey, I love getting to catch the show. I didn't think I was going to get to catch it today. I carpool with my cousin who is anti-football.
Oh, jeez.
So I didn't think I was going to get to catch it today, but I'm always happy when I do, man. And even though I don't watch them live, I still watch them later. So
I appreciate that, Brandon. So thank you so much, and screw your cousin. Excellent.
Yeah.
That bastard.
Hey, we're in Arkansas. You can't say that.
Oh, geez. So, yeah, right. That could be misinterpreted. So, yeah. Thanks, Brandon, for tuning in, brother. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks. Bye.
Wow. A lot to unpack there. Anywho, let's go back to the phone lines. And boy, I need an intro for this guy. There's no question about it. I got to work on it. Like I said, my sound choices are the chimes for like when new members show up. And the, you know what, why not? Because he's one of us, right? Please put your hands together. 322 people in the room live here on a Monday before training camp. My father, Pop on Pop, joins us here on the show. What's up, father?
Hey now, Boy Green. Good to see you. Good to see
The
you.
tie-dye, the Mardi Gras vibes. Very nice. Hope you're doing well.
Doing well. Doing a little working from home today. So
Excellent.
Listen to the show while I was drafting a document. But anyways, I just wanted to clarify. You know,
Okay.
a long time ago, there was a saying that was probably even before your time called RIF. Reading is fundamental.
Right?
Okay. And so I would like to offer LIF. Listening is fundamental, because I was not disparaging Aaron Rodgers yesterday. I was offering the viewpoint that the Jets didn't need someone who's obviously Hall of Fame caliber Aaron Rodgers. They needed a serviceable quarterback, and my conversation was to that point that he is, you know, historically speaking, you know, despite all the booming, despite all the people that the hatred by the ESPN insiders, right? He averaged 3,900 passing yards a year, right? And so that's what the Jets needed. That was my point. He has a longer runway than Aaron Rodgers. Is he better than Aaron Rodgers? No, he's not. Does he have bring some intangibles to the table like toughness, come from behind victories? You know, you harped on the fact that he had more interceptions than Aaron Rodgers, but you didn't mention, it was very quiet, like a church mouse, when you found out that he had more in half the seasons. He has more come from behind victories. So again, I'm not saying that Derek Carr is better than Aaron Rodgers. The Jets did not need a Hall of Famer for this team. This team is a Ferrari, and it really just needed a test lap driver, not to finish the race. If they had that last year, that was what the conversation about. It was not disparaging Aaron Rodgers. He is more likely to get hurt. He does have less years left to play, and that's why I thought Derek Carr was an opportunity to fill the hole the Jets needed and to set them up for future success. So it was not Aaron Rodgers hatred.
Well, I will just say, I appreciate you coming back in because, sometimes when the bullets are live flying all over the place and all kinds of emotions and splatterings of different things that, things could get misinterpreted. I like that you've not rephrased, but like reiterated perhaps that point because it is interesting because that's what we said forever before Rodgers is that, man, if we just had someone competent, someone that just wouldn't turn the ball over, a souped up Trent Dilfer, basically, it just someone who wouldn't, fuck it up. Someone who was just going to destroy the whole ship with the defense and skill talent. If you just did that, that could be enough. And I will agree that Carr would have been the safer option. It would have been put your seatbelt on, point A to point B. He could get you there. Perhaps. B being the Super Bowl. We'll see if he could have gone that far. But A to B in terms of playing the quarterback position, it's not always sexy. You don't see a lot of, and that would be, I suppose, another criticism, is the actual playing of the game of football, of being able to, Aaron Rodgers has beautiful throws, tight window throws, and he just unloads his arm talent. There's a lot of wow plays. Derek Carr, if you watch Derek Carr games, there's not a lot of wow. You don't step away going, man, what an unbelievable throw that only Derek Carr can make. You don't normally come away from that doing that, but he follows the instructions. If you buy a table and you got to put it together, Derek Carr will follow the instructions of putting that table together, and sometimes that isn't sexy, but there is something to that. But I think with the last 13 years going the way they have, I think Jet fans are feeling a little courageous. Instead of the safe, go for the risk. The higher ceiling, perhaps lower floor, but which we saw last year with him not being able to stay healthy, that the higher is able to do it. And I see Darren in here and everyone saying, Paul, you're a grown-ass man. Don't let your pops sway your opinion. Again, if I had the choice, I was always going with Aaron Rodgers. And back then, I was picking Aaron Rodgers. But I'm simply saying to the Carr point, the Carr take, the Carr explanation, it makes sense when you put it in that lens.
Right. The fact is, Aaron Rodgers is more likely to get hurt than Derek Carr. Right? The analytics, the age, that says it. Derek Carr, we wouldn't have given up draft picks.
That's
Derek
true.
Carr, we wouldn't have signed Lazard to the roster. Again, I am not saying that he's a better quarterback, but he is a tad above serviceable, and that's really all the Jets needed. That was all I was saying yesterday. That's what the topic of the show was about. I even started it off by saying this is not disparaging Aaron Rodgers. So there was a lot of whatever. But listening is fundamental. That's all I wanted to say. And just to the topic today, Izzy is not making the roster. Write that down.
Okay.
Right next to the stone cold lock of Son Reddick being in the running for defensive player of the year. Remember I said that. So
yeah, you did. Yeah, a couple weeks ago. By the way, I'm sure we'll have actually some Hassan Reddick news to discuss this week. Was there anything else? The Izzy one, that's fair. A lot of I imagine I will be in the minority with that take of having Izzy on it. I know I'll probably be in the minority with Cole Laval. Shout out to the UFL All-Star that joined the team. And so I know a lot of predictions I've seen do not have him making the roster. So I know I'm a little bit out there on that one. And Chaz Surratt, you guys could probably flip a coin. Half the roster predictions will have him, half of them will not. That one's more in the middle. But is there anything else? Was there some horrible miss there? No fullback, I guess. I didn't have that in there. Which you're a Daryl Moose Johnston fan. This guy's no Moose, but
you got to have a fullback. 100%. Got to have a fullback. Especially, does Breece Hall need a fullback getting in his way, bumbling around when he's got to make the cuts and moves? No. Do our other 2 pounders? Yes. Right. You punch him in the mouth with a fullback. You're like, oh my God, dear God, holy crap! And you just get rolled over by the Badger or the Jackrabbit. So. I think a fullback, the I formation, one tight end. I think that's the way to go. Got to have a fullback on the run, or you let Quentin Williams line up in the back. That would be a nice 1-2 combo.
That was a Rex Ryan special back in the day. He had Sheldon Richardson, that big ass defensive lineman in the backfield. We have not seen it yet with Quentin, but maybe we could get a little freaky this year. Nathaniel Hackett is an offensive wizard. Likes to be creative, so I'm sure old cue ball could be in there. Boop, boop. And get that billiard shot in there.
Did you just call Nathaniel Hackett a wizard?
Yeah, creative.
Is he like Dumbledore? He's like a wizard that doesn't remember Breece Hall can catch the ball. He's a wizard. I don't know. Anyways, Just had to call in, be very clear. That was not what I was doing yesterday. I was responding.
Yes.
Called in. I was asked to call in to get my take on Derek Carr. I provided it. So for everyone that hates me, I'm not going anywhere. We, the Jets, will have a solid season. Peace and love.
There you go. Beautiful. Well said. Hop on Pop, join us on the show. And on his way out, let's play it for him. There you go. Beautiful. Again, you love him. You hate him. You love to hate him. You hate to love him. It's just a full package deal. There's just no question about it. And there you are. My father joining us here on the program. And sorry, B-Mac. Apparently, you're probably sleeping, but you missed it because apparently B-Mac had a lot of things to say about my father after he was off the show yesterday. And he wants to be, he has since reached out to me and said he wants to be on the show with my father at the same time. And basically, I back up and let them have a conversation, man to man. I don't know what that means, but wonderful. I'm sure that should be incredibly enlightening whenever that does happen in the near future. A couple of final thoughts here. First off, guys, the reason why I was a few minutes late to the show was I was watching Origins, which is a new Jets documentary series by the One Jets Drive award-winning crew. And they're doing episodes on a bunch of players. And the episode that dropped yesterday, which is 40 plus minutes, I'm going to do a promotion for it on social media, on Twitter and Instagram in just a moment, with some nice words and some screen captures and things of that nature. I do just want to say, check it out. It's well worth your time. What an incredible story for Jermaine, from being this dominant high school football player to having to go to independent community college and then getting back into the major college football picture at Georgia, not getting enough playing time. So he takes a chance one more time to jump over to Florida State. And it's a really, really, really cool story. A really, really cool story there. So love it. For sure. I would say that. So, guys, make sure you guys check out that story, that film, that documentary. It's spectacular. So make sure you guys carve out time to make sure you check that out. Wonderful on Jermaine. And, again, shout out to the One Jets Drive crew. It's treated me well, and they do great work. Great work. Great cinematography, great choreography, all of it. The camera shots are spectacular. Great on the music and everything else of that nature. Before we get out, we need a dream team thing here. Let me pull this up from Jared B. Paul, last part of your dream team: head coach, offense coordinator, defense coordinator, special teams, bonus head trainer. JK about the trainer. Okay, so let's see. And I would assume that I don't get to do like a Madden thing here. So Madden used to allow you to do this where you could hire anyone. So like my defense coordinator could be Rex Ryan. My this could be this. I'm assuming it's dream team of Jets, the Jets positional group of what they did at all these spots. Off the top, Bill Parcells is my head coach. He, is one of the best in the business. There's no other way to put it. He has to be the head honcho. He has to be the main squeeze on this. He is spectacular. There's no debate about it. He is the easiest head coach selection in Jets history. He just gets it done. The ultimate motivator, roster, all of it. He's just the perfect guy. Now we get into some of the other parts of the equation here on where to go. I do want to make sure I represent history here for sure. I do want to make sure we represent history here of getting the right guys in the mix. Let's see. Let me see if I can get the... I don't know if there's a proper list that'll give me what I'm looking for here on some of these Jets coordinators all time. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this may help us here. Let's see. The Jets coaches, all-time Jets coaches. All right. Yeah, these are head coaches. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, we got some coordinator action here. So, obviously, I'll give a shout-out as we're going through this. Defensive coordinators, Jeff Ulbrich has done a spectacular job. He would be in here. Mike Pettin was the Jets defense coordinator during a lot of the Rex Ryan years, and Dennis Thurman. Bob Sutton was spectacular during Mangini. He could be a guy here. He's a legend. Ooh, the Jets had Mike Nolan. I didn't even know that. That was unfortunately the Al Groh year, but Let's see. So we have some of that action. Oh, wow. Well, I guess the defensive coordinator is none other than Bill Belichick. He was, how could we forget about him? He was the defensive coordinator for those Bill Parcells teams of 97, 98, 99. I'm going to go Bill Belichick, which is probably disgusting for a lot of you, but let's go. So we got Parcells as head coach. We got Bill Belichick as defensive coordinator. Those 90s teams. Okay. That's very nice. All right, so we're getting some history here. Let me see. Offensive coordinators. Let's see. Who do we got here? Hackett. No. Mike, listen to this group. Dowell Loggins, Mike LaFleur, Hackett. Oh, God. The one Chan Gailey year in 2015, I guess. Shoddy, Brian Schottenheimer. There you go. Paul Hackett. Oh, yeah, I guess you could go there. Hey, the Jets won the division last time he was the offensive coordinator. That's a good sign. Charlie Weiss back there in the late 90s. Good old Rich Kotite as the OC. Yeah. Joe Walton, different John Idzik, Ken Shipp. Clive Rush was the offensive coordinator when the Jets won the Super Bowl. Okay. So that's our group there. Okay, interesting. Wow. Yeah, special teams is Mike Westhoff. John Hepburn, I 100% see your comment here. That's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Mike Westhoff is a legend, future Pro Football Hall of Famer, I believe. So, yes. So, let's go. I lost your comment here. Sorry about that. But, yeah, the all-time list here. So, head coach Bill Parcells, defensive coordinator Bill Belichick, special teams Mike Westhoff, and now our final choice is offense. Boy, yikes. Again, you could go with their Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator. We've only had one of those. That's Clive Rush. He is probably number one right now. Again, Charlie Weiss, his time at Notre Dame. Paul Hackett was the last division. Yeah, I'm going to go Clive Rush. There you go. Our offensive coordinator in 1968, the year we won the Super Bowl. Clive Rush. You are our team. There you go. Beautiful. Again, when you look at history, we have not had a lot of great offensive minds that have stepped through here, at least as an offensive coordinator. We had that one year in the 90s where the Jets coaching staff was spectacular, littered with future head coaches and everything else, which is great, but I can't cheat and do that. I have to do it with what they were when they were here. So there you go. Bill Parcells, Clive Rush, Bill Belichick, Mike Westhoff. What a group. Spectacular group. Fantastic. Well, thank you to the 400 people that are in the room right now. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. Check out the 53-man roster prediction in the article down below. Let me know your thoughts. If you're watching this after the fact, you can comment in and let me know things you enjoyed or things you hated or some obvious miss. Feel free to include that in there. I take great pride in it, but hey, I'm human. I could have made a mistake. Let me know what they are, and I'll interact with you guys in the comment section. I'll be on later tonight. Let me see the time with Connor Long. Let me see what time that is. I saw the DM earlier. 9 p.m. So I'll be back on live here on this channel with Connor Long, our teenage Jet fan. That'll be coming up at 9 o'clock. So 12-ish hours. We'll see you guys there. And as Hep says, hit the like button. It's free. Absolutely it is. Like the video. Hit subscribe. We're also working on the Discord for all our members. Keep an eye out. We'll be inviting you to that soon. If you're a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club, you have exclusive access to the Discord, and you must be a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club, to join that Discord, and we'll give you guys more information on that coming up later. And then we'll be, of course, on live tomorrow morning at 7:30 for Boy Green Daily. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Hope you really enjoyed this episode. We put a lot of detail into the 53-man roster prediction, so I hope you enjoyed that. And it's back, baby. Training camp is here. Players again report tomorrow. The rest of the Jets players have first practice on Wednesday. Can't wait. I'm going to enjoy it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Here, let's do one of these on the way out. Football is back, baby. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Take care, and at 9 o'clock for Connor Long. Thanks, everybody. See you.